Okay then guys, what's going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're inside of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and my oh my, we have got so much news to come along. So Jedi Survivor has been a game that people have recently had their hands on with an event where they actually gave game time and hands-on time to a load of content creators and game news sources across the countries. With that being said, we're going to dive into some of the information that we have received via Reddit and or other sources. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. That being said, let's dive on into it. So starting off, we have some really crazy information right here with regards to customization. The main customization and UI screen actually looks incredible now, with main rotation gear looks so much smoother, so much cleaner, and so much more Star Wars orientated, if that's even a thing, but I know what I mean by that. I'm sure you guys do as well. And now we have a color alteration on the pants, I believe, although recommend that there will be color alterizations throughout the entire accessorizing pieces, therefore meaning that you can change the color of your pants, hopefully change the color of your jackets, t-shirts, so on and so forth, and makes the customization skills a little bit more to your own critique rather than having to wear things that's strictly out of their catalog. Now when we look into other things, though, we do have the lightsaber customization, and this one for me was absolutely awesome. It just looks quite a lot more in depth and a lot more of a customizable way. This is relatively similar to the way that this was in the original game, although for some reason just looks a lot cleaner in its main format. When we look at the colors of the lightsabers, though, it does have a lot of different variations, and this for me is huge. I've always wanted to rock a purple lightsaber. Don't ask me why, there's just something that's made me want to rock it since watching the original films. Relevant to it though, what we can see is from the preview on screen is that they were available from the get-go. Now we don't know what part of the storyline that they were accessible in for these guys. We don't know whereabouts in the game that they were put originally for these main players, but there are a lot of color alterizations. Now we do have some questions that were posted up on the Reddit page by somebody inside of the game called Bobman0, an unknown player, that stated, "I play Jedi Survivor, ask me questions. Hey all, I previewed Star Wars Jedi Survivor at the recent event. I would love to answer any questions you might have about the game. Obviously I can't answer everything because I didn't see/play everything, but I will do my best. Also, no story spoilers." And they go on to state from the community founder itself, I'm the Zero, stating, "Are lightsaber colors all unlocked from the very beginning, or are they unlockables? And if so, how many colors are there?" The person responds with, "I don't know how many colors obviously, but it looks like they were unlocked from the beginning." This is something which is really good, and this next part is actually something which really entices me greatly, as I am a massive fan of the open world movement. He states, "Nice, if I can ask one more question, how open-ended is Kobo? Is it full on open world or more akin to the Dark Souls Metroidvania open world?" He states back and says it's more open than any of the other planets, but it's not a full open world. This for me is absolutely brilliant. The reason why is because as we go through more of the questions, he does go to state that there is a lot more of the open world side to it than there was at all. So he says here, side quests are a big W, so it's more open world. And he states the planet we were on was yes, which is absolutely amazing. We've got a lot of open world movements, and for me, that's huge. That's where the game alters quite drastically. The main reason it alters so drastically is because an open world movement inside of these sorts of games changes the thing for the better. It is absolutely bonkers to think that we could have an open world style inside of this and it not be so linear the same way that it was beforehand in Jedi Fallen Order. Some of the other combat questions and stuff like that were such as, is the combat smoother? Have they improved his running animation? And what is transversal like within the knee animal buddies? Is BD1 safe? Is BD1 alright? Now, what they mean by that is obviously the combat was quite clunky originally, and this is something that the community are really scared about as an overall. We don't know how that's going to be. And also, his running animation, I'm glad that people are mentioning this, because when I played Jedi Fallen Order, for me, it looked like he had definitely cacked himself, and he was just kind of like running with a bit of a twang inside of his legs. It didn't make any sense to me at all why he was running so weirdly, and obviously we go into the animal buddies on top of that, which is a new feature inside of the game, and he says it felt pretty similar overall. It's basically a mount BD1 is there. They replied with, BD1 is there. I noticed you didn't answer the question of if he's safe. And somebody stated he's never really safe, which is actually really interesting as an overall. The bit that I'm gutted about is that his running animation is relatively the same, and so is the combat, which for me inside of Fallen Order was quite clunky to say the least, and it wasn't really my most enjoyable attribute. There didn't seem to be much of a smooth longevity movement when it came to being able to chain the abilities inside of this. We do know though that inside of the force options there is push, pull and slow. This is something which we know is going to be in the game at some stage, although he didn't really consider how it would work and he did not unlock any more force powers in his time period. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have any more unlockable force abilities. This is something which I was really intrigued about, because the force is obviously going to be something quite large inside of the game. Now what we do know for this though is that if you are on PlayStation 5 you are going to find a lot of things that are going to change inside of this. They've really leaned into the controller and how it can adapt inside of the playstyle for the game, meaning essentially the haptic controllers. So when you are utilizing the pull ability and the push ability, you are going to feel that in your controller, mainly in the R2 and L2 triggers. Essentially what that means is if you are going to give like a slight push and just only really like maneuver it or tickle the movement, you are going to get a slight feedback. Although if you go for a quick rush, as in like a bit of a panic push on an ability towards an enemy that is rushing towards you, you are going to feel that push inside of the controller. This is kind of hard to be able to kind of speak about in a main dialogue version instead of being able to actually do it yourself, but what we are saying is that you are going to feel the force inside of your controller quite drastically. This is huge, and I think that other consoles need to really start looking into this sort of factor, mainly because it's great for the PS5, but haptic controllers and haptic feedback and all of that sort of stuff really needs to start etching in towards the Xbox side of things. We need to start feeling these sort of abilities being able to come through as an overall, although what they are saying is that EA did genuinely have a lot of fun being able to press into this and be able to utilize the skills for a greater movement. The force is going to feel so good inside of this game, you guys aren't going to know what's hit you. The only thing I'm gutted about so far is that the actual feel of the game does not feel brand new, and that this may as well have been an extended and enlarged DLC, and this was something I was quite scared about when it came to the original Star Wars Jedi Survivor, kind of like the way that it was shown originally. We know that we've got a load more stances and we know that we've got a load more abilities, but as an overall the game feels like an extension more than a brand new game. That's my partake on it, and that's why I've gathered from what we've seen so far. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe, post notifications turned on. Thanks again for watching guys, I appreciate all your faces, and as always, up until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.